6 years had passed since the Battle of Newton's Gateway. 6 years since humanity forced the galaxy to acknowledge them. 6 years that brought both triumph and trouble. High Counselor Taman Kwan sat in his office on Viridian Prime, looking much older than his 60 years. He had retired from military service 3 years ago, choosing instead to serve as Earth's senior representative to the Galactic Union. Sometimes he wondered if commanding fleets had been easier than commanding. Respect. The Belkari system is requesting human peacekeepers again, his assistant reported. That is the 4th request this week. Approve it, Taman said tiredly. Send the usual force. Make sure they understand the rules of engagement. The rules had become necessary in the years since humanity proved its military superiority. They had become the galaxy's primary peace enforcement. When pirates raided trade routes, humans stopped them. When tyrants oppressed populations, humans intervened. When disputes threatened to become wars, humans appeared with overwhelming force to restore order. It had started well. Species that had suffered under the old powers celebrated human protection, but celebration had turned to dependence, and dependence had bred resentment. Admiral Soman Yang understood this better than most. At 33, she commanded the largest peacekeeping fleet in galactic history. Her ships patrolled 1,000 systems. Her soldiers kept order on 100 worlds. She was respected, feared, and increasingly isolated. Ma'am, we have a situation in the Corvin sector, her operations officer reported. 2 species are disputing mining rights. Both sides have requested human mediation. And if we mediate? Soman asked. Whichever side loses will accuse us of favoritism. They will say humans are becoming tyrants just like the old powers. And if we refuse to mediate, the dispute could turn violent. Thousands might die, and everyone will ask why humans did nothing to prevent it. Soman rubbed her temples. This was the trap they had built for themselves. They had become so powerful, so dominant, that the galaxy expected them to solve every problem. But every solution created new problems. Every intervention bred new resentment. Send a team, she decided, but tell them to find a solution both sides can accept. We are not here to rule. We are here to keep peace. On Earth, Scholar Minji Park was finishing her life's work. At 72, she had spent the last 15 years studying human-alien relations. Her book, The Price of Power, was nearly complete. In it, she detailed humanity's rise and the unexpected challenges that came with dominance. We fought so hard to be acknowledged, she wrote. We thought that once the galaxy respected us, everything would be better. We were wrong. Respect based on fear is not the same as respect based on understanding. And fear, no matter how justified, eventually breeds hatred. A young officer entered her study. Lieutenant Ha-Jun Lee was 24, born after humanity joined the Union. He represented a new generation that had never known dismissal or humiliation. To him, human dominance was normal, expected. Professor Park, you asked to see me? Yes, Lieutenant. I am studying the attitudes of young officers like yourself. Tell me, what do you think of Earth's role in the galaxy? Ha-Jun considered the question. We are the protectors. The peacekeepers. Without us, the weak would suffer under the strong just like before. And does that not make us the strong who dominate the weak? Minji asked gently. That is different. We do not exploit them. We protect them. But do they see the difference? When human warships appear in their systems, when human soldiers enforce human ideas of justice, do they see protectors or conquerors? Ha-Jun frowned. I never thought about it that way. That is the problem, Minji said. Your generation has only known power. You have never been weak. You have never been dismissed or humiliated, so you cannot understand how others feel when they are dependent on your strength. Before Ha-Jun could respond, alarms sounded throughout Earth. Emergency broadcasts appeared on every screen. The message was simple but terrifying. Unknown hostile force entering human space. Origin extragalactic. Species unknown. Intent hostile. Admiral Soman's fleet rushed to intercept the threat. What they found shocked them. Ships unlike anything in the Galactic Union. Technology that did not follow known physics. And an enemy that did not respond to communication. The first battle was a disaster. Soman's forces used every tactic that had worked before. The enemy countered them all. Human psychological warfare had no effect. The aliens did not think like Union species. They did not fear. They did not hesitate. They simply attacked with cold efficiency. Fall back, Soman ordered after losing 12 ships in the first hour. All units retreat to defensive positions. Her fleet withdrew and the enemy did not pursue. They simply stopped at the border of human space as if waiting. Analysis? Soman demanded. They are unlike anything we have faced, her tactical officer reported. Our tactics rely on exploiting psychological weaknesses. These aliens do not have those weaknesses. They are not complacent. They are not arrogant. They are just efficient. For the first time in years, Soman felt fear. Real fear. Humanity had dominated the galaxy because they fought better than species that had forgotten how to fight. But these aliens remembered, or perhaps they had never forgotten. The news reached the High Council within hours. An emergency session was called. Representatives from every major species gathered, all looking at the humans with a mixture of fear and something else. Hope? Schadenfreude? Can you defeat them? The silver-skinned leader asked Taman bluntly. I do not know, Taman admitted. We are analyzing their tactics. So far they counter everything we try. They are not like Union species. They are more like us. Then what do we do? The crystal being asked, genuine fear in its voice. If the humans cannot stop them, who can? A young voice spoke from the back of the chamber. Maybe humans do not need to stop them alone. Everyone turned. Lieutenant Ha-Jun Lee stood there, technically not authorized to speak, but doing so anyway. Taman recognized his old friend Minji's teaching in the young man's eyes. Explain, Lieutenant, Taman said. Sir, we became dominant because we remembered how to fight. We used tactics the Union had forgotten. But we have been hoarding that knowledge. We train our own soldiers. We develop our own strategies. We keep our methods secret to maintain our advantage. That is correct, Taman said slowly. What is your point? What if we shared it? What if we taught other species to fight like humans? Not to make them weak, but to make them strong. To make them partners instead of dependents? Silence filled the chamber. The idea was revolutionary and dangerous. If other species learned human military tactics, Earth would lose its monopoly on effective warfare. You would give away your greatest advantage? The smoke creature asked in disbelief. We would invest in allies, Ha-Jun corrected. Right now, if we fall, the galaxy falls. But if we train others, if we share our knowledge, then the galaxy can defend itself. We would not need to be everywhere solving every problem. Other species could handle their own security. Taman looked at the young lieutenant with new respect. This was the wisdom Minji had been trying to teach. The understanding that true strength came not from dominating others, but from empowering them. The lieutenant makes a good point, Taman said. But this decision is too large for me alone. I need to consult with Earth's government. 3 days later, Admiral Soman received new orders. She read them twice, making sure she understood correctly. Then she smiled for the first time in weeks. Attention all Union species, she broadcast on all frequencies. Earth is establishing the Terran Military Academy. We will teach our tactics, our strategies, our methods to anyone who wants to learn. We will show you how to fight the way humans fight. Not because we are surrendering our strength, but because we are sharing it. The new threat requires all of us to be strong. Together we can defeat any enemy. The response was overwhelming. Hundreds of species requested admission to the academy. Some were suspicious, thinking it was a trap. Others were eager, seeing it as a chance to finally understand human military success. But all recognized it as a significant change. Scholar Minji watched the first class of alien cadets arrive at the academy on Mars. They came from 50 different species. They all looked nervous, unsure what to expect. Welcome, she told them. You are here to learn how humans fight. But more importantly, you are here to learn why we fight. We fight because we know what it means to be weak. We fight because we remember being dismissed and humiliated. We fight because we decided that no one should ever feel powerless again. If you understand that, then you can learn our tactics. If you do not, then you will never fight like a human, no matter how much training you receive. Over the next months, those cadets learned. They learned human tactics, human strategies, human ruthlessness, but they also learned something else. They learned to trust each other, to work together, to see other species not as rivals but as allies. When the extragalactic threat attacked again, they were ready. Not just human ships, but a fleet of Union vessels commanded by officers trained in human methods. They did not fight as well as humans, but they fought better than they ever had before. And together they won. The battle was hard. Losses were heavy, but they won. Afterward, Admiral Soman met with her counterparts from other species. They were exhausted but proud. 2 years had passed since the Battle of Talveen. 2 years in which the galaxy learned to speak humanity's name with caution. 2 years in which everything changed. Ambassador Unji Han sat in her office on Viridian Prime, the same station where Commander Quan had been humiliated 7 years ago. But she was not here to beg for acceptance. She was here because the Galactic Union had invited her. Begged her, really. 43 species now flew under Earth's protection. 43 worlds that refused to pay tribute to the old powers. 43 populations that looked to humanity for safety. The galactic economy was collapsing as the traditional power structures crumbled. Ambassador Han, the silver-skinned council leader said, his voice strained. We must discuss this situation. Your protection services are causing instability. Yunji smiled politely. She was a small woman with gray hair and a grandmother's face. She looked harmless. That was her greatest weapon. Instability? We are simply helping those who ask for help. Is that not what the Union claims to do? You are disrupting ancient agreements, the Crystal being accused. Species that have paid tribute for thousands of years are now refusing. They hide behind your warships. They are not hiding, Yunji corrected. They are choosing freedom. Is freedom not a right guaranteed by Union law? The council members looked uncomfortable. Union law did guarantee freedom from exploitation, but for 50,000 years, no one had enforced that law for the weak species. The strong took what they wanted. That was simply how things worked. We need to discuss terms, the smoke creature said carefully. Perhaps Earth could reduce its protection radius. In exchange, we could offer full Union membership. Oh, Yunji raised an eyebrow. Full membership, not probationary status. How generous. Do not mock us, human, the silver leader said sharply. We are offering you what you originally requested. Peace, cooperation, a place in galactic society. 7 years too late, Yunji said, her voice turning cold. 7 years ago we came here in peace. We asked politely. We offered friendship. You laughed at us. You called us soft-worlders and primitives. You told us to wait 500 years. We made an error in judgment, the Crystal being admitted reluctantly. But surely you understand that the Union cannot function if species simply ignore established hierarchies. Then perhaps those hierarchies need to change, Yunji said. Perhaps the strong should not be allowed to prey on the weak. Perhaps the Union should actually enforce its own laws. Before the council could respond, alarms sounded throughout the station. Red lights flashed. A voice announced, "Emergency session called. All council members report immediately. Priority crisis level." Yunji watched as the council members' faces changed from annoyed to shocked. Whatever had happened, it was serious. What is it? She demanded. The silver leader looked at her with something like fear. 3 founding species have formed a coalition. The Veteran Imperium, the Kalathi Collective, and the Rennick Federation. They are assembling a military force. They say they are going to restore order to the galaxy. Restore order, Yunji repeated. You mean they are coming to destroy humanity? They have 2,000 ships, the smoke creature said quietly. The largest military force assembled in 10,000 years. They are calling it a peacekeeping operation, but everyone knows the truth. They want to eliminate Earth before you become too powerful. Yunji stood up. Then I need to contact my government. How long do we have? 3 weeks, the silver leader said. They are gathering at the crossing, the hyperspace junction that connects to your space. When they are ready, they will jump to Earth and demand your surrender. And the Union? Yunji asked. What will you do? Silence. The council members looked at each other, unable to answer. I see, Yunji said coldly. You will do nothing. Just like you did nothing when the veterans attacked the Talveen. Just like you have done nothing for 50,000 years while the strong preyed on the weak. Thank you for clarifying where humanity stands. She left the chamber without waiting to be dismissed. Outside, her security team was waiting, led by Commander Jinso Park, Dr. Minji's nephew. He was young but capable, a product of Earth's new military academy. Commander, we need to get back to Earth immediately, Yunji said. The war is coming. The message reached Earth within hours. Fleet Admiral Taemin Kwan read it with a mix of dread and anticipation. This was what they had been preparing for, what they had feared. The moment when the old powers of the galaxy united to crush the upstart humans. We can field 300 ships, General Ji-Wan Lee reported, against 2,000. The math is not in our favor. Since when do humans care about fair odds? Kwan asked with a grim smile. We have something they do not. We remember how to fight real wars. Journalist Yuna Shin had requested permission to embed with the fleet. She wanted to document what might be humanity's last stand. Quan had approved it. If they were going to die, let the galaxy know how hard they fought. The Earth fleet assembled at Newton's Gateway, the hyperspace junction that connected to their space. Every ship was there. Every crew was ready. They knew the odds. They did not care. Captain, now Admiral Sumin Yang, commanded the defense. At 27, she was the youngest admiral in Earth's history. She was also the best tactical mind humanity had produced since ancient times. Their fleet will arrive in formation, she briefed her commanders. 2,000 ships in perfect lines, beautiful, organized, predictable. That is their weakness. They have forgotten that war is chaos. What is the plan? Someone asked. Sumin smiled. We make them afraid. We make them doubt. We make them question everything they think they know about warfare. And then, when they are confused and scattered, we hit them with everything we have. The coalition fleet arrived right on schedule. 2,000 warships jumped into the system in perfect formation. It was meant to be overwhelming, meant to make the enemy surrender without fighting. Instead, they found 300 human ships waiting in seemingly random positions. No formation, no clear strategy. It looked like chaos. The coalition commander, a veteran general named Korthax, laughed. Look at them. They do not even know how to form a proper battle line. This will be over quickly. All ships advance. We will crush them in one glorious attack. The coalition fleet moved forward as one massive wave. 2,000 ships, all perfectly coordinated. That was when the humans struck. Admiral Sumin's plan was simple in concept, impossible to predict in execution. Her fleet did not fight as one group. Each ship was independent, following its own orders, attacking different targets. They used every trick humanity had ever invented in 10,000 years of warfare. Some ships pretended to flee, drawing coalition forces into traps. Others hid in asteroid fields and ambushed passing enemies. Some broadcast false communications, making the coalition think they were winning in areas where they were actually losing. And all of them ignored the rules of honorable combat. They are attacking our supply ships, one coalition captain reported in shock. That is against the rules of engagement. They are using civilian ships as cover, another said. We cannot fire without hitting civilians. Their ships are ramming ours on purpose, a third screamed. They are insane. General Korthax watched in horror as his perfect formation fell apart. His ships were confused. His commanders were overwhelmed. The humans were fighting like nothing he had ever seen. They were willing to sacrifice their own ships to destroy his. They were willing to die to win. Reform the line, he ordered. All ships fall back to defensive positions. But it was too late. The humans had already penetrated deep into his formation. Admiral Sumin had been waiting for this moment. All ships execute Plan Omega, she broadcast. Commander Jinseo, your turn. Commander Jinseo Park commanded the boarding teams, a new concept in galactic warfare. While space battles raged outside, small human ships flew directly at the coalition's largest vessels. They latched onto hulls. They cut through airlocks. And then soldiers in armored suits poured inside. The coalition crews had never experienced boarding actions. They did not even have weapons inside their ships. Why would they? Space combat happened in space, not inside vessels. That was the civilized way, but humans were not civilized. Not when fighting for survival. Jinseo's teams moved through coalition ships like ghosts. They disabled engines. They destroyed weapon systems. They captured bridge crews. Within hours, 20 of the coalition's largest ships were under human control. The battle lasted 2 days. When it finally ended, the coalition fleet was shattered. 700 ships were destroyed. 400 were captured or disabled. The rest retreated, their commanders in shock. General Korthax's ship was one of those captured. He stood on his own bridge, surrounded by human soldiers, staring at Commander Jinseo in disbelief. How? He asked. We had 2,000 ships. You had 300. How did we lose? Jinseo removed his helmet, revealing a young face covered in dirt and blood. Because you forgot. You forgot that war is not a game. War is not about honor or rules. War is about survival, and humans have spent 10,000 years learning how to survive. Back on Earth, the news was received with exhausted celebration. They had won. Against impossible odds, they had won. But Admiral Quan knew this was just the beginning. Send a message to Viridian Prime, he ordered. Commander Taman Kwan stood before the massive doors of the Galactic Union Council chamber. His heart beat faster than usual, though he tried not to show it. Behind him stood Dr. Minji Park and Captain Hyunwoo Nam, representing humanity's best and brightest. They had traveled 3 months through space to reach this moment, Earth's first contact with alien civilizations, their chance to join the galactic community. The doors opened with a sound like thunder. Inside, the chamber stretched far beyond what seemed possible. Hundreds of alien species sat in floating seats that circled upward into darkness. Some had scales, others had fur, and many had forms that hurt to look at for too long. At the center sat 5 beings on elevated thrones. These were the High Council members who ruled the Galactic Union. Taman walked forward with his team. Their footsteps echoed in the vast space. Every eye, or whatever aliens used to see, turned toward them. The weight of those stares pressed down like gravity had suddenly doubled. "Humans of Earth," a voice boomed from everywhere and nowhere. It came from a tall being covered in silver skin. "You have requested membership in the Galactic Union. State your case." Taman cleared his throat. He had practiced this speech 1,000 times. "Honored Council, humanity comes before you in peace and friendship. We have achieved faster-than-light travel. We have left our homeworld and explored our local systems. We have art, science, and culture spanning 10,000 years. We seek to learn from you and to contribute to the greater galactic civilization." Silence filled the chamber for a long moment. Then something unexpected happened. Laughter. Not from one alien, but from dozens. The sound ranged from chittering to deep rumbling to sounds that made no sense at all. The silver-skinned being held up one hand. The laughter stopped instantly. "Humans, you come from a Class 9 gravity world. You breathe oxygen and nitrogen. You live barely 100 of your years. Your technology is primitive. Your culture is young. Your people still fight wars among yourselves." "That is true," Taman admitted. "But we are learning. We are growing. We want to be part of something greater than ourselves." Another council member spoke. This one looked like a floating crystal that pulsed with inner light. "The Galactic Union has existed for 50,000 years. In that time, we have seen 1,000,000 species like yours. Most destroy themselves before reaching this point. Those who survive usually have nothing to offer us. You are soft-worlders from an insignificant system. What could you possibly contribute?" Dr. Minji stepped forward. "We have unique perspectives. Our world has faced challenges that have made us adaptable and creative. We solve problems in ways that might surprise you." "Challenges." The word dripped with contempt from a third council member, a being that looked like smoke given shape. "You mean your constant wars, your violence, your inability to cooperate even among your own kind. These are not qualities we value, human." Taman felt anger rising in his chest, but he pushed it down. "We have made mistakes, but we have also overcome them. We have united our world. We have ended global conflicts. We are ready for the next step." The 5 council members looked at each other. No words were spoken, but something passed between them. Finally, the silver-skinned leader spoke again. "Your application for membership is denied. Earth will be classified as a probationary observation zone. You will have no voting rights, no trade access, and no representation in union affairs. You may not establish colonies beyond your home system. You may not develop weapons beyond your current level. We will check on your progress in 500 years. Perhaps by then you will have matured enough to reconsider." 500 years? Captain Hyunwoo spoke for the first time, his voice sharp. "Most of us will be dead in 100. You are condemning generations of humans to isolation. That is not our concern," the crystal being said. "You are dismissed." The 3 humans stood there, shock and anger warring on their faces. Around them, the assembled aliens had already lost interest. They were talking among themselves, conducting other business as if humanity no longer existed. "Come on," Taman said quietly. "We are leaving." They walked back through those massive doors. The journey to their ship felt longer than the journey to the station. None of them spoke. What was there to say? They had been rejected, humiliated, dismissed as insignificant insects by beings who barely considered them worth noticing. Their ship, the ESS Pathfinder, waited in the docking bay. It looked small and crude next to the sleek alien vessels around it. Taman had been proud of it 3 months ago. Now it seemed like a child's toy. They departed from the station and set course for Earth. The journey home would take another 3 months. 3 months to figure out what to tell their government, 3 months to accept that humanity was alone. They were 2 weeks into the journey when the attack happened. Alarms screamed through the ship. Red lights flashed. Unknown vessels approaching fast, the computer announced. 6 ships. They are powering weapons. Hyunwoo ran to the bridge. His pilot instincts took over. Battle stations. Shields up. Prepare evasive maneuvers. Wait, Minji said, checking her console. I'm picking up a broadcast. They are identifying themselves as Kravik raiders. They are demanding we surrender our ship and cargo. Pirates, Taman said. The word felt bitter. The Great Galactic Union allows pirates to operate. They are hailing us, Minji reported. Put them on screen, a face appeared. It had too many eyes and a mouth full of sharp teeth. Humans, surrender now and we will kill you quickly. Resist and we will take you as slaves. Choose. Hyunwoo looked at Taman. The commander saw something in the pilot's eyes, rage. The same rage he felt himself. They had been laughed at, dismissed, told they were worthless. Now pirates thought they were easy prey. No, Taman said simply. The alien raider looked confused. No, you choose to resist? Foolish humans. Hyunwoo, Taman said. Show them what foolish humans can do. The captain smiled. It was not a nice smile. With pleasure, sir. What happened next surprised everyone, including the humans themselves. Hyunwoo did not try to run. He did not try to defend. He attacked. The Pathfinder was not a warship, but it had some weapons. More importantly, it had Hyunwoo's experience from Earth's many wars and Taman's tactical mind. They did not fight fair. They did not follow rules. They used tricks and deceptions that the raiders had never seen. When a raider ship moved to flank them, Hyunwoo suddenly reversed thrust, putting the Pathfinder behind the attacker instead of ahead. When another ship fired, Taman had them dump all their coolant, creating a cloud that confused the enemy sensors. The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, 2 raider ships were destroyed. 3 had fled, and 1, damaged and helpless, floated in space. Board it, Taman ordered. I want that ship intact. I want their technology. I want to know everything about them. They secured the raider vessel. The surviving pirates looked at the humans with fear in their many eyes. They had attacked hundreds of ships. No one ever fought back like this. No one ever won. Back on the bridge, Taman looked at the captured ship on their displays. Then he looked at his crew. Minji was shaking but standing tall. Hyunwoo was breathing hard but smiling. They had survived. More than that, they had won. Record everything about this encounter, Taman said. Every tactic we used. Every mistake they made. When we get home, we are going to have a very different conversation with our government. What will you tell them? Minji asked. Taman looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was the Galactic Union, thinking humanity was weak and worthless. Somewhere out there were raiders and pirates who thought humans were easy prey. They were all wrong. I am going to tell them the truth, Taman said. The galaxy does not want us to be diplomats. The galaxy does not want us to be friends. So we will be something else. We will be survivors, and we will never be dismissed again. 5 years had passed since the humiliation at Viridian Prime. 5 years since humanity learned that the galaxy saw them as nothing. 5 years that changed everything. Admiral Taman Kwan stood in the command center deep below Geneva, looking at screens that showed Earth's secret expansion. What he saw would have shocked the Galactic Union if they had bothered to pay attention. But they had not. They never checked on the humans. Why would they? Humans were insignificant, that was their mistake. Admiral, the new facility on Kepler 442b is complete, reported General Jiwon Lee. She was a tall woman with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. Before first contact, she had been one of Earth's top Special Forces commanders. Now she led something much larger. We can begin moving the heavy equipment. Good, Taman said. What about the other sites? Proxima Centauri is producing at full capacity. Ross 128 will be online next month. All facilities are hidden from standard Union scanning methods. Jiwon smiled slightly. Just like we planned. Dr. Minji Park entered the room carrying a data pad. 5 years had aged her, but her mind was sharper than ever. I have finished the analysis of the 17th alien species we have encountered. The pattern holds true. They all share the same psychological weakness. Tell me, Taman said. They have forgotten how to fight real wars, Minji explained. The Galactic Union has been at peace for so long that none of them understand total war. They think of combat as a game with rules. They cannot imagine someone breaking those rules. They cannot understand deception on a deep level. Their minds do not work that way anymore. But human minds do, G1 said. Exactly, Minji confirmed. We remember every brutal lesson from our history. Every war we fought. Every terrible thing we did to survive. The aliens evolved beyond that. We did not. Is that good or bad? Asked a new voice. Engineer Do-hyun Choi walked in, his hands covered in grease from working on something. The young man was a genius at taking alien technology and making it better. I mean, should we be proud that we are better at killing? We should be alive, Taemin said simply. Pride is for species that have choices. We do what we must, Do-hyun nodded. Then you will want to see this. He pulled up a hologram. It showed a sleek ship, unlike anything in Earth's old fleet. I combined their shield technology with our armor design. I took their power systems and added our redundancy. I used their weapons but modified them to fire 3 times faster. This ship can beat anything the Raiders use, maybe even Union military vessels. And how many can we build? Taemin asked. We have materials for 50, but if the mining operations continue as planned, we could build 500 in 2 years. Taemin looked at Ji-won. Begin production immediately. Prioritize defensive systems first. We need to protect our colonies. About that, Ji-won said, her face growing serious. We picked up chatter from the Raider networks. They are planning something. A big attack. They want revenge for the ships we destroyed 5 years ago. Where? Taemin asked. Kepler 442b, our newest colony. It has 3,000 civilians and only light defenses. The Raiders think it will be easy. Then they are making the same mistake they made before, Taemin said. Ji-won, take your best people. I want that colony turned into a trap. When the Raiders arrive, they should find hell waiting for them. What about Union observers? Minji asked. If they detect a large battle, they might investigate. Let them, Taemin said. Maybe it is time they started paying attention. 3 weeks later, the Kravik Raiders jumped into the Kepler 442b system with 30 ships. It was their largest attack force in years. They had learned that humans had established a colony on this harsh world. A world with high gravity and violent storms. A world that any sensible species would avoid. But humans were not sensible. That made them easy prey. The Raider commander, a veteran of 1,000 attacks, smiled with his many mouths. Begin standard approach. Scare them. Make them panic. Then we land and take everything of value. His fleet moved toward the planet in formation, beautiful and terrifying. Any normal prey species would see them coming and despair. But humans were not normal prey. The first sign something was wrong came when half the Raider ships suddenly lost power. Their engines died. Their weapons went offline. Their shields flickered and failed. What is happening? The commander screamed. Unknown, sir. Some kind of electromagnetic pulse. But it is not coming from the planet. It is coming from the asteroids around us. The asteroids were not asteroids. They were mines. Human mines. Disguised and waiting. Before the Raiders could react, the planet itself seemed to wake up. Missiles launched from hidden bases under the ground. Railguns fired from positions inside the storm systems. Satellites that looked like space debris came alive and began shooting. Return fire, the commander ordered. But his fleet was scattered and confused. Half his ships were dead in space. The others were trying to fight enemies they could not see clearly. Then the human ships arrived. Not big vessels, small, fast attack craft that came from nowhere. They moved in patterns that made no sense. They attacked and retreated and attacked from different angles. They did not fight with honor or dignity. They fought to win. General Ji-won Lee watched from her command post on the planet's surface. Around her, soldiers worked with cold efficiency. These were people trained in every dirty trick humanity had ever invented. Guerrilla tactics from Vietnam, deception from ancient China, brutality from every war Earth had ever suffered through. Group 3 hit their command ship again, she ordered. Group 5, make them think we are retreating from the western sector. When they follow, Group 6 will hit them from behind. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, 28 Raider ships were destroyed. 2 had escaped, badly damaged. The third was captured intact along with its crew. Ji-won walked through the captured ship later that day. The Raiders inside looked at her with fear and confusion. They had attacked hundreds of worlds. They had never lost before. Not like this. Why? One of them asked in broken human language. Why you fight so hard? This just colony. Just rocks and wind. Why you fight like we kill your families? Ji-won looked at the alien. Because it is ours, she said simply. Every rock, every bit of wind, every human on this planet. We do not give up what is ours. Ever. The news spread fast through the galactic underworld. Humans were not prey. Humans were dangerous. Humans were something new and terrifying. Pirates and raiders began avoiding human space. Some species even started asking Earth for protection, but the Galactic Union still did not notice. Or if they did not care. Humans were probationary species. Beneath notice. Let them play their little games. Back on Earth, Taman met with the world government. We have proven we can defend ourselves, he told them. But defense is not enough. We need to be ready for anything. What are you proposing? The Earth president asked. Taman pressed a button. A hologram appeared, showing massive shipyards hidden in the outer solar system. Project Guardian. A full military fleet. Real warships. Not converted exploration vessels. Ships designed for one purpose only, to ensure humanity's survival. That will take enormous resources, someone objected. It will take years. It will take exactly 3 years, Taman said. I have the plans. I have the engineers. I have the materials from our hidden colonies. I just need authorization. The council members looked at each other. They thought about the humiliation 5 years ago. They thought about the raiders who hunted humans for sport. They thought about a galaxy that saw them as insects. Authorized, the president said. Build your fleet, Admiral. Make sure humanity is never dismissed again. Taman bowed slightly and left the chamber. Outside, Minji and Jiwan were waiting. They approved it? Jiwan asked. They did. Good, Minji said, because I finished my analysis of Union military tactics. They are predictable. They follow rules that have not changed in thousands of years. They are strong, but they are not flexible. We can beat them if we have to. Let us hope we never have to, Taman said. But even as he spoke, he did not believe his own words. The galaxy had shown humanity its true face. It was not kind. It was not fair. It was survival of the fittest, and humanity intended to be the fittest of all. In the dark of space, human shipyards worked without stopping. In hidden colonies, factories produced weapons and armor. In training facilities across Earth and beyond, soldiers learned to fight without mercy or hesitation. The galaxy had dismissed humanity. Soon, very soon, they would learn the cost of that mistake. Do-hyun stood in one of the shipyards watching the first Guardian-class warship take shape. It was beautiful in a terrible way. All sharp angles and heavy weapons, built not for exploration or trade, but for war. Do you think they will ever accept us peacefully? He asked Minji, who had come to inspect the progress. Minji looked at the warship. She thought about the laughter in the council chamber. She thought about the raiders who saw humans as prey. She thought about a galaxy that only respected strength. No, she said, but they will respect us. They will fear us, and that will have to be enough. Captain Soman Yang had been born 3 years after humanity's rejection from the Galactic Union. She had grown up hearing stories about the dismissal, about how the galaxy saw humans as worthless. Those stories had made her angry. That anger had made her strong. Now, at 25 years old, she commanded the EDF Indomitable, one of Earth's new Guardian-class warships. It was the most powerful vessel humanity had ever built, and today she might have to prove it. Captain, we are receiving the transmission from Agent Kang again, her communications officer reported. Put it through, Somin said. A face appeared on her screen. Minyo Kang looked tired and worried. He had been undercover in Union space for 2 years, gathering information while pretending to be a simple human trader. Captain Yang, the situation is getting worse. The Vethran Imperium has moved their fleet into position around the Talveen homeworld. They are demanding complete surrender. If the Talveen refuse, the Vethrans will bombard their planet from orbit. Why are the Vethrans doing this? Soman asked. What did the Talveen do? They refused to pay tribute, Minho explained. The Vethrans have been collecting taxes from smaller species for thousands of years. The Talveen finally said no, so the Vethrans are making an example of them. The Galactic Union is doing nothing. They say it is an internal matter. Soman felt that familiar anger rising. The Union had rules about genocide and protection of member species. But those rules only applied if you were important enough. The Talveen were not important. Just like humans were not important. I am sending this information to Earth Command, Soman said. They will decide what to do. Captain, Minho said quietly. By the time Earth Command decides, the Talveen will be dead. They have maybe 3 days. The transmission ended. Salman sat in her command chair thinking. Around her, the bridge crew worked in silence. They had all heard the conversation. They all knew what it meant. "Ma'am," her tactical officer spoke up. "We are only 2 days from the Talveen system. If we left now," "I know," Salman said, "but we have orders. We do not engage without authorization from Admiral Kwan." She sent the report to Earth. Then she waited. 1 hour passed, then 2. Every minute felt like an eternity. Every minute, the Talveen people got closer to extinction. Finally, a response came. It was from Admiral Kwan himself. The message was short. "You have authorization to defend innocent life. Show them what humanity stands for. Show them what happens when they ignore the weak. Make us proud," Salman smiled. It was the smile of a predator about to hunt. "Helm, set course for the Talveen system. Maximum speed. Communications, prepare a message for broadcast on all frequencies. Tactical, I want full combat readiness. We are going to war." The Indomitable jumped to faster-than-light speed. Behind her, 11 other Earthships followed. It was not a large fleet, but it would be enough. 2 days later, they arrived at the Talveen system. What they saw made Salman's blood boil. 200 veteran warships surrounded the green and blue planet. Even from space, you could see the damage. Cities burning, clouds of smoke covering entire continents. "Captain, they are hailing us," communications reported. "They want to know who we are." "Tell them," Salman said. "Broadcast on all frequencies. I want everyone to hear this." Her face appeared on every screen in the system. Human ships, veteran ships, even on the planet below. "This is Captain Soman Yang of the Earth Defense Fleet. This system is now under Earth's protection. Any attack on the Talveen people will be considered an attack on humanity. You have one chance to withdraw peacefully." For a moment, there was silence, then laughter. The veteran commander appeared on screen. He was large, covered in thick armor-like skin, with 4 arms and eyes that glowed red. "Humans, the probationary species? You dare to interfere with the veteran Imperium. We have 200 ships. You have 12. Leave now or be destroyed." "We gave you a chance," someone said. "You chose poorly." She cut the transmission. "All ships engage. Plan Delta 7. Show them what we learned from our wars." What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations. The Earth fleet did not fight the way Veteran expected. They did not line up and exchange fire like honorable opponents. They fought dirty. The Indomitable and 3 other ships flew straight at the Veteran formation, weapons blazing. The Veterans moved to intercept, confident in their numbers. But it was a trick. As the Veteran ships focused on the obvious threat, 8 Earth ships appeared from different angles, having used the planet's gravity to mask their approach. "Fire on their command ship," Soman ordered. "Concentrate all weapons. Ignore everything else." The Veteran commander's ship was the largest and most powerful in their fleet. It was meant to be untouchable. But the Earth ships hit it with everything they had. Railguns firing solid metal at incredible speeds. Missiles that dodged and weaved. Lasers that cut through shields. The command ship's shields failed. Its armor cracked. And then, to everyone's shock, it exploded. The Veteran fleet fell into chaos. Their commander was dead. Their chain of command was broken. They had never trained for this. In 5,000 years of Veteran military history, no one had ever killed the fleet commander in the first minute of battle. Soman did not give them time to recover. "All ships split formation. Attack pattern Chaos 7. Do not let them regroup." The Earth ships scattered like leaves in wind, each attacking from a different direction. They did not try to destroy every Veteran ship. That would be impossible. Instead, they created confusion and fear. They hit the Veterans in ways that made no tactical sense. They sacrificed positioning for surprise. They broke every rule of proper space combat, and it worked. Veteran ships tried to form defensive positions, but Earth ships were already behind them. They tried to chase the humans, but the Earth vessels were faster and more agile. They tried to coordinate, but their communications were jammed by human electronic warfare. "They are starting to retreat," the tactical officer reported. 60 ships have broken formation and are fleeing the system." "Let them go," Soman said. "Focus on the ones still attacking the planet." The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, 80 Veteran ships were destroyed or disabled. The rest had fled. Not a single Earth ship was lost, though the Indomitable had taken heavy damage. Soman opened a channel to the Talveen planet below. A face appeared, covered in soft fur with large eyes full of tears. You saved us. Why? We are nothing to you. You are not nothing, Soman said. No one is nothing. We know what it feels like to be dismissed, to be seen as insignificant. We will not let that happen to anyone else. The Vethrans will return, the Talveen leader said, with more ships. They will want revenge. Let them come, Soman replied. Earth will be here. We will always be here for those who need protection. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. In council chambers and trading posts, in military academies and civilian centers, everyone heard the same story. Humans, the probationary species, had defeated one of the founding races of the Galactic Union. On Viridian Prime, the High Council met in emergency session. They watched recordings of the battle in silence. They saw how the humans fought with tactics that had not been used in 10,000 years. They saw coordination and ruthlessness that shocked them. This changes everything, the silver-skinned leader said quietly. We dismissed them. We laughed at them. We called them soft-worlders and primitives. They are primitives, the crystal being insisted. They used barbaric tactics. They have no honor. They won, the smoke creature said. Against 200 ships, they won. How is that possible? Elder Counselor Seok Kim sat in Earth's government chamber reading the reports from the battle. He was an old man who remembered when humanity still fought wars among themselves. He understood what had happened. They are afraid of us now, he said to Admiral Quan, who had come to brief him. But fear is not the same as respect. Fear will do for now, Quan replied. Respect can come later. First, we need to ensure we are never dismissed again. What happens next? Seok asked. The Vethrans will demand a response from the Union. They will want humans punished for interfering. But we have allies now. The Talveen will speak for us. Other species who fear the strong will see us as protectors. The Union will have to acknowledge us. And if they refuse? Quan smiled grimly. Then we make them acknowledge us. We have been building ships. We have been training soldiers. We have been preparing for this moment since the day they laughed at us. If the Union wants a demonstration of human capability, we will give them one they never forget. On the Indomitable, Soman stood on the bridge looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Vethran Imperium was planning revenge. Somewhere out there, the Galactic Union was realizing they had made a terrible mistake 5 years ago. Good, she thought. Let them come. Let them see what happens when you ignore humanity. Let them learn that we do not forget, we do not forgive, and we never ever give up. Her communications officer spoke up. Captain, we are receiving messages from 17 different species. They are all asking the same thing. Will Earth protect them too? Soman looked at her crew. They were tired. They were injured. But they were proud. They had proven that humanity was not worthless. They had shown the galaxy that humans could fight and win.